What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. When we left off in the last episode, we found a decent way to get our retractable oxygen farm working, and then tragedy has strucketh this episode. So, good news and bad news. I did find a working way to get the maglock set up. So I put some, just a maglock panel here, as some of you were suggesting, and I thought it was a great idea to hold the retractable piston stuff in place when we're flying around and doing things, or in battle or something. You don't want that messing up. So some of you probably noticed the problem here. The blocks are, oddly enough, not detached. I really thought they were. But these are not just floating in space. I can extend and retract these. It's very strange. You'll also notice there are no oxygen farms. When I said tragedy has strucketh, basically in the last update of the game, Keen went through and rebalanced a lot of the components and what is considered to be late game, early game, you know, different things like that. Like solar panels are now easier to make. Even on a large ship, it's 64 solar cells, computer component, or a computer, steel plate, large steel tubes, and construction components. Not that big of a deal. But there's one big problem. And that's they've changed some of what the blocks are available for large ships and small ships. And you can guess where the oxygen farm falls into place. So if I hit oxygen farm, I'm greeted with this lovely new message: oxygen farm is not available for small ship anymore. That's crap. That's complete crap. Oddly enough, the same with the assemblers. Airtight hangar doors, also not available anymore. Refineries, assemblers, none of those are available. They did change the cargo containers to where all three sizes are available for both classes of ship. Let's see, what else do we got? I haven't actually gone through and looked at some of this stuff to see what they did change. That's all the same, I guess. So pretty much the biggest difference is that. Now, some of you might be going, well, mods. Yeah, well, when the mods are based on an original block, it still kind of breaks things. For example, this is a really cool block, actually. I can't show it. Well, yeah, I can. Oh, wow, okay. Lag spike. Here we go. So it's actually, look at this. This is cool. The plant is, or the planter is your light source indication, and of course I have this built the wrong way. Oh, there's no power or anything either. But this is actually an oxygen farm, which is cool because you can actually walk in it and stuff. So, or sort of. I guess you can't really walk in it, but you kind of can. And so that's a really cool block. Unfortunately, you'll get the same message. Not available for small ship. There is only one that I have. And this is a vent, too. That's a really cool block, actually. I was kind of looking forward to trying to use that. These, I forget what the DT tag stands for. It's the mod maker. I just don't remember what it is. But these are available. They're just huge. So I'm not really sure what I want to do here as far as, let's see, what is this? If I had it this way, it would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, is it 5 blocks? I can't quite count at the angle here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's actually 5. I think this is actually a 5 block for small ships. Come on. Gosh, I hate how twitchy everything is. Get. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that's actually a really big block. now that I'm looking at it. Like, that's no joke. Here, simple version. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. So it is... I think it's 5. Yeah. 5 by 4. So it's 5 by 4 by 3? Yes. So this poses an interesting issue in that we can do a couple things. We can wait and see if there is eventually another mod that comes out that replaces the oxygen farm. Somehow it's doable because they've done it here. DT's done it, and it's maintained its status. The other mods that have smaller... I think what it is this is based on the large ship and it's just built on the small ship grid. All the other mods, I'm pretty sure, are using the small ship oxygen farm block, and when that went away, the base template that the mod is using went away as well. So because of that, this is currently the only one we really have available. Should there be enough outcry, blah, 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 and Keen ends up retroing it and changing it, we'll have a different picture. But my theory is I'm wondering if I should move forward with this type of block in mind. It doesn't really work very well for what I'm trying to do, mainly because of length, that it's longer than the original oxygen farm, so I would have to change the spacing. I would have to change the width here, and the other factor is I would also have to reconfigure this with the conveyors and everything. But the other big problem I see is that I don't know, even if I had it all the way here on the bottom, I just don't know if it would stick out far enough for it to... The other ones were fully out because they were smaller, and this one is not. And I don't think it will be. And then this one is just massive. So, here's my plan. I'm hoping that eventually the modders and the community in general will be as upset about that change as I am, because I'm pretty mad about that. I hate it when you can't do small ship stuff on, or large ship stuff on small ships. It drives me nuts, because I'm like, I understand the whole balancing thing of them wanting you to make large ships and stuff, but I want to make a small ship that's kind of an all-purpose vehicle, and I can't do that when they keep changing things. And I was very surprised, because I even have like the small ship mod pack and stuff in here, the mega pack or whatever it is, that had that in there, the oxygen farms and all that stuff. And I haven't really looked in specific tabs. That's what I'm trying right now. That it ended up, it's locking up my inventory. But yeah, I haven't really been able to find a solution for that. So I think for now I'm just going to leave it and hope and pray that somebody develops a small oxygen block again, or oxygen farm. Any mod makers out there, if you're listening, I would greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. Any kind of small ship blocks that can be converted from large ships, I am all about it. I'm all for it. And the airtight hangar doors, the 1x1 hangar doors. I'm glad we ended up going with the ramp for the entrance. By the way, this is taking forever. This is ridiculous. Actually, I'm going to pause it. Okay, so it finally loaded, and unfortunately I'm greeted with the same problem that we had before. So this is supposed to be all the small blocks. I don't think it's actually accurate. It might be just the... I don't know. Anyways, when I scroll through here, the only oxygen farms I can find are these. The rest are all just blah. Suspiciously absent, basically. So yeah, that kind of puts that whole retractable solar farm thing on hold. I don't think I'm gonna not leave it, though. Like, I'm not going to tear it down. Just because if they do end up retroing that, or if mod developers end up coming up with a fix, then I'd like to keep it so that we can just add it back in later. One other thing, again, because the refineries and stuff, we lost our refinery assembler setup as well. So that's not cool. Thankfully, again, the Sheocore mod does in fact have an assembler and a refinery for small ships. Unfortunately, they're very, very big. So what I think I might do is change this conveyor structure up somewhat and make it one side and the other instead of trying to have two on one on each side kind of thing. We could possibly... Nope. That's way too tall. So, yeah, we're having a bit of a crisis here, mainly because of the whole let's rebalance the game. Not that I'm sad to see the balances, because, quite frankly, I think a lot of them are really cool. It just, they went and changed some of my setup, and now I'm kind of having to fix stuff. Basically, I also need to figure out where exactly the conveyor ports are. I think it is... I think it's those. Alright, so what I'm going to try... Again, because a lot of this is going to end up changing. Let's actually clear out both sides of this stuff. I don't think I had any of that over there anyway. Some of this, again, I'll refer back to, like, the conveyors and stuff. I'm probably going to remove this just for now so we can better figure out our assembly and refinery type situation, since that's an active part. What did I just delete? I just broke something. Ah, crap, I have it set to the small blocks again. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so let's fix this. Sorry about that. I just had too many mods set up in my game, and so whenever I tell it to load, it just takes forever under certain mod tabs. So, sorry about that. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'm just gonna clear out this oxygen generator setup here, because the whole oxygen farm thing has kind of put a monkey wrench into how I have wanted to set... What is going on here? Come on. I will say this does frustrate me sometimes, that it's like... Okay, whatever. Thank you. Okay. So we're pretty much cleared out for that. Now, I am going to remove this button because it's not going to be there permanently anyway. And that's the assembler. Okay. And I'm guessing that's the connector port. But again, we're going to have to do some creativity with our connections because that looks like a large connection. And I didn't mean to have this here. Which one are you? 2. Goodbye. Alright. Now for the refinery. Alright, so we got a refinery here. Same kind of deal. But we do have a refinery and a assembler now with our cargo set up right here. Oh, and as for reactors, I don't know what exactly was going on with my reactor setup, because I have kind of come to a very different conclusion about the XPAR build. I don't know if the mod had been updated, possibly, or not. Or if Azimuth has updated their reactors, I really don't know. But here is a cute little one. This is a Azimuth Fusion Reactor Tiny 6-point, and basically it has 6 conveyor points. One of the cool parts of this is I didn't really think about it, but it was told to me in the comments that you could actually use this in like place of a normal conveyor and have little reactors all over, which is kind of cool, though it would make uranium management kind of complicated. So I don't know if I'm going to actually use those, but I found out in working around with stuff I may not need to. So here's the thing. We currently have 3 of these Azimuth Fusion Reactors, right? Which for all intents and purposes is kind of their heavy-duty ones, as far as I know. Now, if I were to look at the fusion reactor, we can say the max output is 9 megawatts. So all 3 9 should be 27. So we should have 27 megawatts, not counting the batteries, right? Now, granted, this one wouldn't be here anyway. Get rid of that. So 18 megawatts. Now, I had said I wasn't going to use the XPAR stuff because I would need to have like 4 or 5 of these for one, to equate to one fusion reactor. Not entirely true. For a couple reasons. A, I got my numbers wrong. I don't know if I was using what I was using, actually, but these are the light... I'm starting to figure out the mod. I watched... Craig is one of the mod makers, I know that, and he's commented on my videos and stuff before about things and ways I could use different mods that he's been a part of, and I ended up looking up like a guide, and I ended up finding actually one of his videos anyway on kind of walking through how and the ways things are supposed to be set up. Now, with that in mind, I kind of realized I wasn't really looking at it the right way. So we have light reactors, medium reactors, heavy reactors, but then we also have upgrades, and you can see the little prongs type thing. There's actually sockets on these, like this one right above the right here, right above the conveyor block. There are conveyor blocks so that you can get uranium to them and stuff, but then there's actually, like if I were to flip this and plug it in, you should somewhere, I think I might have covered it up actually. There's usually a little light on the upgrades somewhere that show that they're properly attached. I don't know about this small one. Let's try this. Can I do this one? Oi! Alright, so this one is on the back. This is a heavy upgrade. But you'll see the little green light, and if I were to just place one, you'll see it's red. So that tells you when it's properly attached. So these it almost reminds me of the assemblers and refineries and stuff, how they have upgrades now. But, so just a basic heavy reactor, right? Just a heavy reactor. No upgrades. Now, when I check this now, under heavy reactor, it says 6 megawatts, which is only 3 under the Azimuth Fusion one. That's not really that bad. I don't quite know where I was getting. I'd need like 4 or 5 of them. Then, if I put a single upgrade, a single heavy, and you know, you could use one of these and do like a medium upgrade too if you wanted to, but I'm just looking at the heavies to heavy, you know, heavy reactor, heavy upgrade. You know, you do something like that. Now, when we check the heavy, it's up to 12, which is more than the Azimuth Fusion Reactors. So I don't really know where my information was coming from, because it's not accurate, actually. Now, this does present an interesting dilemma. I had one on each side, because they were just going to be sitting stationary blocks. You just place a reactor, place some batteries, boom, we're done. This presents a little bit of an interesting situation, because actually one of the things that I hadn't even thought of, but was showcased in the like explanation type videos, is something. Now, I won't be able to do it very accurately because of the spacing here, but you can kind of have like these, you know, reactor rooms, because say at this height we put an upgrade here, and then say we had another one on the other side over here that was attached to this upgrade. Come on. Come on. You can kind of see how this makes like an archway. So if it were low enough or high enough or whatever, you can actually have this as kind of like a doorway kind of deal, which would be pretty cool. And we'd end up with more power, to be honest. So I'm definitely going to reconfigure this, but it would possibly require a massive reconfiguring of maybe only having one reactor room over here, and then have this be a completely different setup. Truth be told, now that I'm actually talking this through with you guys and verbalizing it out loud, I am almost wondering if it would be smarter to have one whole side be reactors, capacitors, batteries, etc., and then have this whole side be cargo, assembler, refineries, and so forth. That's kind of what I'm thinking now that I'm looking at this. So, yeah. And that also changes all of this. Like, pretty much, basically what I'm getting at is the realization or the modification. I don't really know what happened, but for whatever reason, XPAR seems to be more of a... Okay, and apparently, we have some weather issues going on, and the power decided it wanted to go out while I was in the middle of recording. That was very rude. Alright, so I took that opportunity, though, before I started recording to go ahead and pause and kind of work on my idea of doing a single room for each side. Like, this is all refinery and storage, and this will all be reactor type stuff. So we're going to test that. It's a little more compact than I wanted, but the biggest issue is having to use these Sheo Core ones, because they're the only ones that apparently survived the purge. So if I look at assemblers, we have the Azimuth one, which is a bit smaller, I think. The problem with it is that we don't really have... we don't really exactly have a refinery to match it. That's the big problem. And as you can see, these no longer say small ship. I think we've gone over that already. That one's not either. So the Sheo one is really the only one that works. There is this one, but I have a feeling it's actually a weapon. I don't think that's a refinery? Maybe it is. I thought it was a weapon. ISM... Let's see if it's got a control panel on it. Production... Inventory? Oh, it's a refinery. I'll be darned. Though, that isn't really much smaller. This one is. The assembler is much smaller. For Azimuth. But it's not as wide, but it's kind of just as big in terms of the depth and stuff, which is really ultimately the problem. The length of the refinery really isn't an issue, though. That's a weird dimension. It's not quite two of them. That's really funky. Yeah, like it's like 1 1/4 or 1 1/2. That's kind of weird. So that might be something we can look into. But anyways, without further ado, I put this here to say that if you didn't, like, if this door was closed and you didn't want to have to go into the room, we might want to just have an LCD display here that shows what your inventory status is. And I also had to replace these doors, because you can see here they took the doors too. Frickin' keen, messing up my small ship. Doors are no longer available on a small ship. Freaking A, man. Is there anything that left that survived the purge? This is a update catastrophe right here. Oh, and I'm all but certain that the small conveyor blocks will not actually work with this. Actually, I found a way to confirm that, which we can test, and that's by putting a tube on the side, and then connecting it to something. Where's another conveyor block? Right there. I'm stuck on this ridge. Let me out. Okay, just for testing purposes. But usually what'll happen, for example, is, let's see here. Do I have something available that has... Like, if we do like this, it probably won't do anything. Nope. But where is a container? Like, if I put a container right here, and then put a tube, it won't, it'll be red. But if I put a conveyor, then it turns yellow. Okay? So if it connects to a viable source and then gets attached to a conveyor, it usually will light up yellow if it will work. So what we can do here is try it by doing that, that. And it does not turn yellow. So more than likely, we will actually have to have a big conveyor block connected to the cryo tube, which sucks. But oh well, what are you going to do? Alright, so let's show our conveyor room, or our refinery room. I will say this is a little tight in here. This is kind of snug. And I didn't really want it to be this small, but we shouldn't really be in here too much. It should all be operated through controls and stuff like that. But we have our refinery, we have our assembler. The biggest problem was, if you look at these ports on them, again, you can kind of test this theory and see that it does not light up yellow, so this will not work. It needs a big conveyor tube like this. Actually, let's check this theory. I never tried this. So yeah, that lights up yellow. So it needs a big conveyor. My solution was somewhat multiple staged. So first I put a large container here that has a big port but also has a small one to connect to the overall system above, which for some reason I can't see the colors on. There they are, a little bit. They're yellow. Okay, so it is connected properly. And then I was like, well, that's not enough storage, so I put a medium one right here. And then I didn't like how that looked, so then I put an LCD panel, and this would basically, this would pretty much end up being a inventory screen too. There we go. So you'd have your information there, you got your storage. I did use the cables to make it look interesting, blah, 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 blah. But I know that to some extent the large containers are really big as far as you can hold a lot, but I still wasn't super comfortable with the amount of storage since we don't have a mirror over here with another set of storage containers. And I couldn't... Okay, so let me explain this back here. You can see I've got a line of storage containers. Essentially, I couldn't go any further over. And the reason why is unless I wanted an angled room like this, if I wanted it squared, like, I couldn't go any further over than this block. This is basically where it met in the middle, was right here. Right under this one. And so this gives us our straight edge room. If I came out to like back here and then tried to go forward, I would have to kind of zigzag my way to make a room wall, and that just, it would be, ugh, not a fan. And since there was no feasible way to, like, I can just walk back here past the refineries or something, these things, you can't really get around them very much, I didn't really think it was necessary. So my solution was to put another large container back here, 3 medium containers connected to that, and then run the conveyor tubes and connect that up all behind this wall. So once this all gets sealed up, you won't see any of that, but you'll have a lot more storage room than just the one container. So that's the best I got at the moment. Again, I had a lot of different plans for these types of rooms, but let me know what you guys think. Was it better when we just had a refinery on this side, an assembler on this side, and 2 reactor rooms, or do you think this will work out better having one big kind of sealed off refinery room and then one big reactor room on one side? One benefit is that without having to have multiple large connection ports, these two are now connected, so it can come right in from here into the refinery, into the assembler, and then it's still connected so we can loop it back to the storage system if we want to. So there is that. Let's see. I think that's about all the time we have for this episode, though, so didn't get as much progress done as I wanted to, mostly because they kind of upended my whole idea by changing a ton of how small ships work by eliminating doors, assemblers, refineries, solar farms. Like, all of that is up in chaos at this point, because we've got some mods that somehow manage to make it work, but you've got no mods that are like the small versions, so it's like a teeny tiny assembler or something. We don't have any of those because there's no original block for the small ship to work with anyway. So yeah, definitely chaotic. I expect to see a lot of mods kind of alternating and kind of scrambling to make a fix for all this kind of stuff. I assume, I hope, and if something comes up, do let me know, because it could ultimately end up changing my design as far as if we get a smaller refinery and a smaller reactor or assembler, well, that might give us more room in here and change blah 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 blah. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think we're out of time though, so in the meantime, I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace!